Firstly, welcome everyone to our social commerce masterclass. We're really excited to have you all here today joining this. Yeah, we're going to talk to you about social commerce. Consumers are ready, but are you? Starting with a couple of intros then. So firstly, I'm Ben. I'm the head of digital marketing here at the Pull Agency, and I work with our clients to develop and execute all manner of digital activity from e-commerce to PPC and paid social, through to influencer and organic social marketing, of course, social commerce.
Hi everyone, I'm Daniel, the Biddable Media Manager here at the Pull Agency. I work with our clients on the paid social and paid search campaigns, as well as their strategy to increase awareness, most importantly, increase sales.
Brilliant. Thanks, Daniel. So now I'm just going to cover off some little bits of housekeeping before we jump into everything properly. So yeah, questions. If any of you have any questions throughout today's presentation, please do pop them into the Q&A box, rather the Q&A box in the chat box, but to be honest, either's fine, or feel free to email them over if you'd rather to events@thepullagency.com. If you'd like to chat to myself or Daniel on a more one-to-one basis, we would absolutely love to get a meeting booked in with you, so feel free to send us an invite on LinkedIn or send us an email separately. But next, I just want to quickly introduce who the Pull Agency are. Now, normally we can do this in kind of 10 slides and waffle on, but actually I think it's a lot easier to do it through video. So I'm just going to share a quick video about who the Pull Agency are, some of the clients we've worked with. Hopefully the sound works. This is challenge number 1. Excellent. So hopefully with that video, it's super clear that we're health and beauty experts here at the Pull Agency. And kind of what we're here today to talk to you about is not only kind of health and beauty, but specifically social commerce and how social commerce can really help health and beauty brands drive more sales. So before I get into that, just one final kind of point to touch on, kind of why are we here talking to you about that today? What are our credentials? Well, as you can see, we're a health and beauty agency. We've had more than 10 years experience working with e-commerce and social media. We can run fully integrated social commerce campaigns, making sure our clients get their products in front of their audience at the moment they're most likely to buy. There are, of course, a few more technical bits and pieces required, and through our partnerships with kind of providers and other tools, we have a direct access to providers and equipment and tools designed to really maximize your online sales. Now, social commerce. Let's kind of have a look at that. What does the term mean? What do we mean by social commerce? Firstly, and quite simply, it's where a person's entire shopping experience, from product discovery to the checkout process, takes place on a social media platform. We'll get into a little bit of the history in a moment, But up until a few years back, social commerce simply meant showcasing products and interacting with consumers on social. But the purchase process still took place online on a website. That's no longer the case. Developments mean consumers can now discover, research, and buy their products directly within their social media app. But how did we get here? The term social commerce was first introduced in 2005 by Yahoo, if you remember those guys. Launched in 2005, Yahoo's Shoposphere is the earliest attempt to kind of plunge into social commerce. It has a feature called pick lists, which allows users to comment and review product lists. In 2007, Facebook began to investigate social commerce, kind of researching and investigating kind of what the possibilities are, how the users might react. Fast forward a few years, we get to 2014, and this is really the year of the buy button. Facebook and Twitter both launched their buy button, and Twitter actually discontinued theirs in 2017. A couple of years later, 2016, it's another big year for social commerce. Facebook Marketplace is born, introduced to compete with the likes of Amazon and eBay. And also this year, Facebook Shops arrive, allowing businesses to include a shop tab on their Facebook page and feature products on their page. The following year, in 2017, Instagram began the rollout of shoppable product tags, and Shopify opens up its integration with the platform. Then we get to 2020 and of course COVID, and in the wake of pandemic, Facebook relaunches its shops on Facebook and Instagram, really kind of giving them a huge overhaul, ready for this next push into social commerce. In 2021, TikTok becomes the most downloaded non-gaming app, and in the same year, it also announces a whole host of Shopify partnership and integrations. So you can really see this journey that social commerce has been on, particularly in the last kind of 6 to 8 years. It's really ramped up. And that's great, but you're probably sat there thinking, oh, this history is fine, but what does that mean for my brand today? So Daniel's going to talk you through a few facts and figures.
So we're going to look at exactly why social commerce resolution has been building and why it's so important for the health and beauty brands. So let's look at some key facts. First things first, it's going to be massive. Currently, physical stores still sell up to 20% more than online platforms. However, thanks to a mix of social commerce, personalized marketing, and convenient delivery, that is about to change. A recent projection says that 53% of all sales will occur on the internet by 2030, and social commerce really is driving that growth. In 2021, the global social market was worth $492 billion, and that was driven by China quite considerably. However, social commerce growth is projected to happen at an annual rate at 26% in the coming years. The market should reach $1.2 trillion in 2025, and that is more than 2.5 times its current worth. So what's behind this growth? Well, as we see, users are increasingly more open to it, and so are brands. So firstly, you've got the increasing, sorry, the slides jumped a bit. But where does this demand come from? In short, it's a perfect storm driven by these 3 key factors. Firstly, increasing demand and confidence from users that is really spurred on by the pandemic. According to research, 87% of online shoppers use social media while making a shopping decision. And again, we're back to the key point of the full purchasing journey taking place online, increasingly on social. Accenture did a study and found 64% of social media users have made social commerce purchases in the past year. We also took knowledge of the role COVID actually had to play in this rapid growth of social commerce, forcing more and more consumers and businesses to focus more on their online efforts as physical stores were forced to shut in that time period. Next, we have the platforms. Platforms offer a host of new social commerce options for brands, from the launch of Facebook Shops in 2020 to TikTok's Shopify integration. The platforms are doing everything they can to create tools and give advertisers opportunities to help promote, sell, and give products to their users, while offering clear benefits to the social networks themselves. For example, keeping people on the platform for longer and keeping them engaged on the platform as well. Lastly, we have brands. Brands are more willing and able to participate than ever before. The confidence of social commerce for brands and social commerce now seems to be keeping pace with each other.
So yeah, there was some kind of quick stats about how social commerce has grown and what's driving it. What we're going to do now is kind of dive a little bit deeper into some of those points in a bit more detail. Kind of look at why your brand should care. Well, as Daniel hinted at there, it's how people want to shop today, all over the world. Here we can see the percentage of internet users in each country that purchased from a social network last year. And while China leads the way with 46.4%, everywhere else is catching up. When we look at social media users specifically, according to the latest Sprout Social Index, these numbers become even more compelling. So they ask users of different generations, do you buy from social media? 79% of Generation Z said they do, 69% of millennials, 55% of Generation X, and 43% of baby boomers all said they purchased from social media. And increasingly, people want to buy products and services based on recommendations and inspiration from people they trust. Today, for most consumers, that means friends and influencers, and actually increasingly less their family. And where do they find that inspiration? On social, of course. And here we've got some stats around how consumers shop, where they get their recommendations from. Your customers want to feel inspired, informed, and confident in what they buy. Social commerce really serves these needs, providing a seamless shopping experience that sparks discovery, allows for personalization, and leverages individuals' expertise and authenticity to build trust, whether they're a friend or an influencer. And that point about authenticity is really what's going to drive social commerce forward. We all remember the phrase content is king, and for social commerce, it's really no different. We start with content created by brands, influencers, or individuals, which drives authentic discovery, engagement, and action. In this case, that action is a purchase. Just as we've seen with the rise of TikTok and the death of the Instagram aesthetic, replaced by the photo dump, Gen Z have changed the game. Overly edited photos, celebrities, and picture-perfect lifestyles are not what people want to see today. Social commerce taps into this with the use of influencers creating relatable posts, advertising products that users want to engage with, and ultimately shop. Here you can see, oh, sorry, a bit of a lag on the video here. Hopefully this plays. As fluffy as all this talk of authenticity and realness is, there are some practical factors underpinning this. Firstly, while you may have synced up your product feed to your social accounts, I'm sorry to say that a lot of the product images that get pulled through aren't that great. I'm guessing it's generally a picture of a product on a white background. That's fine, you need it that way for your Google shopping campaigns and other areas, but it's not really that engaging. Imagine replacing that with one of your wonderful product images, or even using that killer piece of influencer content that's been created for you. People are far more likely to shop it. To illustrate that point, a video should be playing now on the right-hand side of an influencer demonstrating a product. Unfortunately, it looks like the gremlins are in the system and the video is not going to play. In addition, who hasn't bought something online only to find it didn't look anything like the picture? Now, imagine you could have seen that item in a video with an influencer that you follow, showcasing all the features, benefits, etc. from all angles. You now have a much truer, more authentic idea of the product, how it looks, how it works. Not only that, but you didn't even have to leave your social network to find all of that out. And actually, according to Shopify, 46% of consumers want to watch product videos before they buy. The additional benefit of this authentic approach is reduced return rates, with Shopify also reporting lower product return numbers for brands using social commerce. On a much more practical level, it's just a lot more convenient for everyone. Users are spending more time than ever on social media. A study by Kantar showed that In the aftermath of COVID, social media usage increased by 61%, and the pandemic really drove home how social media is now the entry point for pretty much everything we do online. News, entertainment, messaging, it's replaced the homepage for those things a long time ago. So in a lot of ways, social commerce feels like an inevitable, natural progression for retail. With users increasingly able to discover, research, and buy products online from their favorite social media app, those barriers for brands are being torn down. Fewer touch points, fewer clicks, less friction, more sales. In a whole nother life, 10 years ago, before I worked in digital marketing, I worked in retail, and what I learned in retail was people are most likely to change their mind about making a purchase if the queue for the till is too long. It gives them too much time to think about their purchase. Their initial impulse and compulsion to buy falls. By reducing touch points and making it easier to buy a product as simple as a couple of clicks within an app, users they don't have that time to think about their purchase, to regret it. It becomes more convenient, it becomes much quicker, and it maximizes sales. Think of social commerce almost like the drive-through of health and beauty shopping, offering that similar kind of speed and convenience. The last point I want to touch on is actually how social commerce is really helping brands take back control of their own brand and their own brand equity. It's such a key point. As brands look to redesign their own direct-to-consumer strategies and wrestle control back from the likes of Amazon and other marketplaces, social commerce really has an important role to play here. According to Shopify, more than a third of all consumers purchase products through marketplaces at least once a month. But the product-centered nature of these marketplaces mean it's really easy for your brand identity that you've worked hard to craft and build to just be overlooked. As we've already explored with this idea of content and authenticity through social commerce, businesses can build brand equity and engagement, something they're unable to control in most online marketplaces. This quote here from Etienne at Hootsuite really sums that up quite nicely. Social commerce is an opportunity for brands to reclaim their destiny, owning the customer experience and that relationship with consumers, compared to selling on Amazon where price is king and people don't give your brand a second thought. Not only does it allow brands to build good brand equity and own the customer experience and that relationship, it's also giving back control in other ways. Brands are continuing to spend huge sums of money in digital advertising. However, where D2C brands once plowed millions into online advertising to drive new revenue, the success they saw doing that, along with the pandemic, has caused a wave of newer brands to oversaturate what was already becoming kind of limited advertising slots, competing against each other and driving costs higher. In fact, global ad spend in Q3 of 2021 was 26% higher than the same period in 2020. So, social commerce gives brands the chance to open up and exploit new revenue streams. It also allows brands to go some way to reduce the ongoing shockwaves that are being felt as a result of Apple's iOS 14 update last year and all the kind of changes and kind of various issues that have arisen around privacy. With less and less data available to brands, advertisers, and the social platforms as a result of that, keeping users on platform actually has the added benefit of making tracking and creating audiences for your digital ads much easier. As social commerce conversions happen within the platform, there are no restrictions on tracking, and you start to build better data again. And that is another really, really important point when it comes to social commerce. It's also worth pointing out what this means for beauty brands in particular. And we'll come on to some case studies later on where we look at beauty brands already really kind of leading the way with social commerce, as well as some of the platform options available and how they might relate to health and beauty brands. But I just wanted to call out a couple of key stats as well. In a study by the Influencer Marketing Factory, they found that while fashion is the type of product bought most commonly via social commerce, 22% of users Beauty actually is the second most common, with 15% of users purchasing beauty via social commerce. And although smaller in terms of total social commerce sales at the moment, according to a report by Accenture, by 2025, so in just 3 years, 40% of all beauty e-commerce sales are expected to come via social commerce. So we've kind of shown you why social commerce is a big deal and some of the benefits it can provide to your brand. Some of those really kind of quite eye-opening stats, I guess. What we haven't touched on yet are the actual social platforms themselves. So now we're going to take a look at various social commerce options available on each of these.
So I will go through Facebook and Instagram to start off with. So Facebook and Instagram shops are digital storefronts where you can list products while highlighting their identity as business. Prospective buyers can either buy directly on the business website or make a purchase natively through the app. So once you have a shop, your catalog set up, what are your options now? Well, the most common, and especially on Instagram, are shoppable posts, allowing you to tag your post with products from your catalog. Then users can simply tap on the tag, then they're given a chance to check out directly in the app. In addition, both channels are offering the option for live stream shopping. Live stream shopping is the ability to tag and feature products during Facebook and Instagram live videos. It's basically like the QVC for the Gen Z. You might be wondering, who is Facebook and Instagram best for? Well, it's best for the businesses with larger product catalogs and have good content. And if your audience is the Gen Z, Millennial, or Gen X, I would also probably throw baby boomers in there because it's a good place to get started. Next, we have TikTok. So TikTok has been testing social commerce for a while now, but in late 2020, they partnered with Shopify to launch a shoppable video ads. And since then, the partnership between the two has really gone strength to strength. Now, there are two ways for companies to sell their products on TikTok: direct integration and partner integration. Direct integration. This allows businesses to sell directly through TikTok, where the partner integration allows people to discover the product on TikTok through the content on the platform and then check out on outside of the platform or on the site. So there are three kinds of partner integrations you can use: your e-commerce platform, such as the Shopify, your manual setup catalog within TikTok for the business account, or you can use TikTok Marketing API to set up and manage your storefront. Now, TikTok is best for brands with good video content and a strong influencer program. And if your audience is the Gen Z people as well, that's the best for you. But next, we're going to go through Pinterest and Snapchat. We're doing some really exciting stuff as well.
Brilliant, thanks, Daniel. So yeah, Pinterest is a really interesting one when it comes to social commerce. It's generally the platform kind of best set up to capitalize on social commerce. Why is that? Because it's the platform with the most purchase intent. Users are on Pinterest with an end goal in mind. It might be they're planning a wedding, renovating their kitchen, painting a nursery. Whatever it is they're doing, they're looking for inspiration for a project they're about to undertake. And because of that, there is always a goal in mind. Therefore, purchase intent on Pinterest is really, really high. In fact, according to Pinterest themselves, users spend 40% more than people on other platforms every month and have a 30% bigger basket size. However, while there are a host of shoppable pin options and ads for brands and advertisers to use, frustratingly, native checkout functionality, i.e. the whole point of social commerce in today's world, hasn't yet arrived on the platform. It's currently in testing in the US and available to some users there, but it hasn't been rolled out globally yet. That is undoubtedly going to change before the end of the year. So if you're thinking about social commerce and how to build your strategy, Pinterest should be a really key part of that, whether the native checkout functionality is here yet or not. There's just so much kind of purchasing power that pinners have that you really need to make sure your brand is set to take advantage. In terms of the brands that it's best for and who's best placed to really capitalize, it's brands with really great product shots and fantastic imagery. And despite what I touched on about authenticity earlier and some of that, I think anyone who's browsed Pinterest will know it is very much, it's that mood board aesthetic. So you do need that kind of content to really, really win on Pinterest. In terms of the key audience here for social commerce, perhaps unsurprising, but it's millennials and Gen X largely. Those are the guys driving that and driving those purchasing stats that I mentioned earlier. Next up, we've got Snapchat, and Snapchat's, again, another really interesting one when it comes to social commerce. They've been investing heavily in AR technology for a long time. They introduced lenses about 6 years ago, and since then, they've continued to invest and progress their AR offering. In 2020, they partnered with Gucci to launch shoppable AR technology and run a virtual try-on campaign with them. And since then, they've really gone kind of from strength to strength in terms of social commerce. Last year, businesses were able to set up shoppable product catalogs, similar to the sort Daniel talked about on Facebook and Instagram. Unlike Pinterest, they've enabled native checkout functionality as well. But the really exciting developments have happened more recently with the introduction of AR product cards. Now, these combine the scale and efficiency of product catalogs with the personalization of AR. So with these, just as you kind of browse through a set of selfie filters on Snapchat, you can now do that with products. You can flick through products and using the AR technology, try them on. So if you're a fashion brand or a beauty brand, users can scroll through your product cards and try on your makeup. They can try on that lipstick shade. They can try on that eyeshadow, see how it would look. I mentioned earlier that reduced return rates are a great kind of result of social commerce. And it's really key here on Snapchat with these AR product cards. In terms of audience and who it's best for, typically in the UK, we still see Snapchat as very much a Gen Z platform. In the US, it creeps up a bit. Users of up to about 30 are still really kind of prevalent on the platform. But in the UK specifically, it's more Gen Z focused still. In terms of the brands, the type of brands and the type of products it's best for, again, I mentioned it just now, it's going to be beauty and fashion mainly, where you can really leverage those AR options and that AR technology and the try-on technology to see how a product looks or is going to kind of look when you get it.
So you're probably thinking, what do you need for your own social commerce strategy? Now we're going to look through a little bit more detail on this. So first of all, you need the right setup. Then you need a strong content, and you also need a strong brand reputation. Now we're going to go talk through these a little bit more detail. You need the right setup, obviously. So first things first, you need your social accounts. Then you need your products catalogs to be set up as well. Then you need to sync up your social media storefronts with your e-commerce website. This ensures inventory levels are managed on sales channels and avoiding the dreaded out-of-stock message that we all hate. While on the subject of stock, make sure you are managing your inventory with demand. So if you do have some key posts going out or live streams happening that are likely to increase short-term demands on products, make sure you're coordinating this with your team and you don't fall foul of the out-of-stock issue. Then it might sound silly, but make sure you update your buttons on your pages where it can now say buy now or shop now. Because according to a research by Klaviyo, this can increase sales by up to 12%. So assuming you have your social media account set up, you've got the buttons covered, now let's look at product feeds. At the simplest, a product feed is a file that contains your product information on the marketplace. Shopping engines can search for social channels and display your products. Now you can either manage your product feeds manually using your web store built-in product feed or a product feed automation tool. No matter what feed you use, it should always be up to date and reflect your inventory levels. Now, the easiest and most effective way to do this is using an automated product feed. But let's cover in a little bit more detail. Manual product feeds are product data using a spreadsheet you can update manually. Every time a change is made regarding your products, you need to upload the file to your channel. So it is actually a bit more manual work, hence the name. Next, we have the built-in product feeds. These are the likes of Shopify. They've already built in your product feeds for you, such as they can go on Instagram, on Google and Facebook, sorry, giving you a super quick, no frills way to update your product feeds to your channels. Now, the downside to this is a lack of customization, optimization, and automation. That's where automated feeds come in. And automated feeds are a product feed, the best that serves people who have got a lot of product at scale. It offers the most customization options for merchants, product feeds, optimization as well, to modify and enrich your product attributes in the data feed to give you the best results. So you're probably thinking, which one is best for you? It depends on the demand on a few factors. So we'll dive through this now on the next page. First things first, how many SKUs do you have? You need to choose a tool that can handle the amount of data SKUs you have as well. If you sell a lot of channels, this is probably the most practical way to do it, is having an automated feed as well. So when you design your product pages, you're designing them in a way that looks best for your brand and your website. The data is certain styles might fit the aesthetics of your homepage, but nobody designs thinking of Amazon and Facebook's requirements. Automated product feed or attribute mapping can help you handle all this for you. If you have a catalog that is prone to a lot of changes, such as pricing, inventory, size changes, discontinuation, a product automated feed tool will save you a lot of time. On that point, let's look at automated product feeds and tools that can help you. So what type of things do you need to do with this part? So they can help you with the keywords and to help you with the product titles as well, getting the right keywords in your titles and descriptions to help you be found as well. To include values like size, color, gender, all this can go into your title and description. Then it will actually removes disallowed text for you to help you get through those like setting up stages. Also has a customized mapping, as I mentioned before, to help you across multiple channels. It also allows your feed to schedule for accuracy as well, and gives you alerts for any areas or SKUs that come up. Now, we have said some of these features, but we thought we'd share a few that we've used and would recommend to look at. So first one, these aren't in any order, but the ones we would look at is feed optimize, product up, data feed watch, and feed optimize.
Yeah, I think kind of when it comes to product feeds, there, as with any tool, there's a lot out there, and sometimes it can be, a lot to kind of decide which one to use. And we've got experience using kind of a number of different ones, so always happy to help advise on which one's going to be the best for you guys.
So what else to consider when choosing your feed? Do they integrate with your key data sources? Can it integrate with your e-commerce platforms for inventory or order management? Does your new platform maintain integrity on your data? Can you spot errors and fix them at scale? And does your feed integrate with all your ad channels that you're using and platforms? Also, you've got to think, what support does it offer you?
I think that's really key as well, some of these points. So does the feed integrate with your ads channel? There may be, as I've said, there's lots of product feed tools out there, but they don't all integrate with all the channels. So if you need to be running social commerce and kind of shopping ads, etc., on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, so on and so forth, make sure that it does integrate with all those channels. Maintaining the integrity of the data is really key as well. There are tools where it may try and kind of map it across and it loses some of the details. So making sure that the product feed tool you use isn't going to do that. It is really key. Daniel touched on earlier about the number of SKUs you might have. If you are working with a lot of product SKUs, finding a product feed, a tool that allows you to spot errors and fix them at scale is going to be really crucial, because you don't want to be in there having to do that kind of manually. And then, yeah, we've mentioned around data sources as well. There are tools that are really intelligent and can map your data source to the different channels quite intuitively, and you don't need to get involved. And there are other tools where actually, again, that becomes a little bit more manual and you have to map those attributes on your own. So these are all things to consider when you're choosing a product feed. So that covered off product feeds. If you think back to kind of a few slides before, we said that in terms of social commerce and the building blocks required for your own social commerce strategy, you need a few different things. The first one was the right setup and the right tools. So we've covered that off. Now we're going to look at the next element on the list, which was strong social strategy and content. In order to be successful with social commerce, content really is super important. I mentioned it earlier. A recent survey found that 22% of global internet users would be more likely to purchase a product online if it was featured in a post that had lots of likes. We've already spoken a lot about the power of authentic content, the role it plays in driving sales. It's worth repeating. A robust social content strategy is key to a successful social commerce approach. If you haven't looked at your social strategy for a while, now's the time to refresh it, taking into account any new social commerce objectives. And when you do that, ask yourself some key questions. Have you got guidelines for tagging products in your posts? Do your videos have clickable call to actions throughout? Are you planning regular shoppable live streams, for example? There are certain content types that are really key to a social commerce approach, starting with video. This is most key. We've moved on from that era of the YouTube product unboxing. Now customers want to see the product, what it does, how it looks, how it functions in real, authentic scenarios on people that they can relate to. Images have limitations in that regard, but videos don't. It's also worth including several products within your videos. It's actually kind of more opportunity to showcase more of your products, and making sure, I mentioned it just now, you've got multiple clickable call to action buttons throughout that prompt users to check out. User-generated content is also kind of given renewed prominence when it comes to social commerce. It's always been kind of an important tool in any social media manager's arsenal, but with social commerce, it becomes even more important. We know how reviews play a super key integral part in the product research journey. And as with everything in social commerce, reviews can be seen and consumed in platform. So reposting genuine product imagery, videos taken by your customers can show potential shoppers everything they need to know, providing really valuable social proof. And of course, the content your influencers and creators produce now becomes more important than ever, capable of driving serious numbers of direct sales. Influencer strategies, I'm sure you'll have them in place already, but as with your social strategy, it's worth reviewing those in light of your social commerce objectives. I mentioned there featuring multiple products in video. So it might be that you're planning an influencer campaign around one product. Incorporate more, send them a gift box full of several products so they can really have the option to feature a whole range, this sort of thing. So it may be stuff you're already doing, but you need to look at it now through this lens of social commerce. The third building block of any social commerce strategy is strong brand reputation and trust. Perhaps the biggest barrier to the growth of social commerce is consumer confidence. A paper appearing back in 2017 connected a person's trust in a company with their willingness to engage in social commerce with that same company. And back in 2017, we didn't have native checkout. So that was, do I trust this company enough to go and buy it on their website? Social commerce has kind of taken that to the next degree, where users can now check out in-app. That trust and belief in a brand becomes even more important. Half of social medias told Accenture that they're concerned that social commerce purchases will not be protected or refunded properly. While this is likely to lessen over time as social commerce and native checkout and so on becomes more prevalent, there are some key actions that you can take as a brand right now to mitigate these concerns. We've already touched on the importance of social proof on the last slide, but it really is worth repeating here. Resharing reviews, testimonials, customer stories, and other types of user-generated content is the best way to build that trust in your brand. it's one thing, a brand saying we're super reliable and so on, but actually hearing that from genuine customers, it means so much more. So again, thinking back to your social strategy, what is your plan for user-generated content? And do you have a program in place to generate a consistent flow of that and to use it within your own content as shoppable posts? The next point is about a clear returns policy. I mentioned it there, but actually with the checkout happening in app, there can be a bit of nervousness. How is the shipping going to work? How do I sort out a refund if something goes wrong? These are kind of completely valid concerns. So making sure you're doing everything to mitigate these is really key. So signpost your delivery and returns policy wherever you can. Include details of these. Oh, bear with me. Include details of these in your post copy, in your live stream videos. Make sure you've got your returns policy pinned as an Instagram story highlight, for example. And then lastly, it's worth considering support available to would-be consumers. If I am a consumer and I can now buy your product on your social media channel in a couple of clicks, it stands to reason that actually I'm going to expect that support and that kind of customer care piece to be every bit as responsive and convenient and quick. So make sure you are ready to deliver the level of support consumers need. Shopify's Future of Commerce study found that 58% of shoppers say the ability to easily reach customer service in the channel of their choice is super important to them. If you can sell me this product within Facebook in a couple of clicks, I expect you to be able to answer my question the same way. So on this point of support, consider some other stuff as well. Do you have a live chat set up, or do you have a large enough customer care team in place to deal with inquiries quickly and efficiently? This is even more true when you're live streaming. Make sure you have team members on hand to answer questions, moderate the discussion, and guide that conversation. So we've taken a look through the social commerce landscapes and facts and figures about where it is, the history of it, where it is now, taking a look at the platforms and some of the different social commerce options available to you and the key components and tools you need to have in place to be successful. The next thing we're going to talk you through are just a couple of case studies looking at some brands already enjoying success with their approach to social commerce. I'm nervous now because I've got a video coming up on the next slide. Let's see if it plays. But next up is Glamnetic. Any luck with the video? Unfortunately not. So anyway, let me introduce you to Glamnetic. So they're a cosmetics brand that you may or may not be familiar with. They sell their products direct to consumers on their own website, as well as being stocked in stores like Sephora and Ulta Beauty in the US. And of course, they sell via social. Now, a huge part of Glamnetic's success has been the Glam Fam. This was an audience that Glamnetic's founder, Anne McFerrin, kind of built up off the back of product demonstrations live on Facebook and Instagram. Glamnetic were really quick to realize that the size of their audience and the power of social media could be really transformative for the brand. They lent into live shopping, and now the brand's videos give you as the sort of expert advice, product information and recommendations that they might previously have only been able to get via an in-store beauty counter. All this is happening while discount codes and other offers are displayed to help incentivize their live feeds. And live streaming really has been at the heart of their growth and the success of their social commerce approach. And you can see from this quote on screen here, co-founder Kevin Gold actually believes that a head of live shopping is going to become the most important hire for brands in the next few years. Moving on from Glamnetic, our next case study, our next brand that we're going to look at is L'Oreal. So we've spoken at length, and again, unfortunately, these videos aren't playing. We've spoken at length about how, some video. We've spoken at length about how influencers and the content they create is going to be an integral part of your social commerce strategy. Nobody is demonstrating this better than L'Oreal. L'Oreal have always been quick to innovate on TikTok in particular, and it kind of goes double for social commerce really. They were one of the first to allow users to shop products directly on TikTok. And more recently, they've expanded this idea further, working with TikTok to let users shop creator-curated gift boxes from brands like Garnier, Maybelline, and so on, directly from the app's TikTok marketplace in the UK. The idea, of course, here is that someone is going to see their favorite beauty creator talking about one of these gift boxes as they scroll through their app and decide at that moment that they want to buy it. Now, e-commerce has generally been about replenishment. I've run out of X, I'm going to pop online and reorder it. There's often kind of functional, practical motivations behind it. Social media changed that somewhat, making it more about discovery. Social commerce has taken that to the next level, and it's reinvented that product discovery as entertainment through the likes of TikTok and through the likes of creators.
Now, a case study I have found and I think is doing a good job is Kylie Cosmetics. They're really doing a great job with the social commerce strategy. Now, before I dive in and saying why I think they're doing a great job, I really do want to acknowledge, I know they have a mega influencer involved and they're a massive following across multiple different platforms. That being said, they are getting the social commerce right, basically. First of all, they tag their products in their feed, which is the first step, as we mentioned, that you need to get done. They are then doing a great job with using the user-generated content, like we said, using your actual customers' content on your stories and in your feed as well, showing real people using your products and enjoying them. This will increase and reinforce your brand's credibility and showcase people using your actual products without having to send them to your website, to the review page, and actually making them read reviews. It's all done on the platform and they can read the product, see the product review in the post. And it allows people to find people who are similar to them using the products so they can think, yes, I like that product and I want to get it in the platform. The next case study I have and think is doing a great job is MAC Cosmetics. It hasn't loaded yet, but it's MAC Cosmetics. Now, they are using Snapchat's AR lenses, as Ben mentioned, to allow customers to see what their makeup looks like on them in the platform. It really is the new wave of shopping experience. In 2017, Perfect Corp did a survey and found that consumers were almost twice as likely to purchase skincare and beauty products compared to companies that aren't using the AR applications. So MAC Cosmetics is a company that is seeking to enable self-expression by turning makeup into art. That was a mouthful to say, sorry. They are using catalog shopping lenses on Snapchat to allow shoppers to use the AR experience to see what the makeup looks like on them, and scrolling through and swiping through different styles. This is a fantastic way for consumers to get a feel of what is right for them. MAC have actually found success in this approach. They have found that 1.3 million try-ons and 17 times higher lift in purchases among females compared to the first half of 2021. And there's a video playing of what it looks like as well.
Excellent, thank you, Daniel. So, kind of to summarize then, we've got some takeaways to share with you, just kind of key points to keep in mind when shaping your own social commerce approach and social commerce strategy. And then we should have time to take some questions at the end. I think there's one or two have come in. But yeah, just jumping into the takeaways here then. Number one, hopefully it's become really clear throughout this that actually, it's included in the name, I guess, but you need a solid social strategy and a good flow of content to be successful with social commerce. It's no use just having your product catalog. You need those killer pieces of content from your influencers, the UGC content, the really, really incredible product shots. To that end, review your influencer and creator strategy now. Start to rethink how you approach campaigns and even brand ambassadors, making sure that they're featuring multiple products wherever they can, and thinking about moments where there can be clickable call to action buttons within the content that they create. Picking the right product feed and the right products is also really, really key. You may have a product catalog with hundreds and thousands of products, hundreds of SKUs, whatever that might be. But actually, doesn't necessarily mean all those products are right for social commerce, and it doesn't necessarily mean all those products are right for all the different social platforms. If I take a skincare brand as an example, if I've got a retinol product, for example, I may not want to advertise that to younger users. So I might only feature that in my social commerce program on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and I may not use that on the likes of TikTok or Snapchat. So there's just those nuances to consider with your product catalog about where is a good fit and where isn't, what's going to maximize my returns. And then that last point, again, just to reiterate, do what you can to build trust. Make sure you're staffed up in terms of support and customer care. Especially if you're doing things like live feed shopping, that sort of stuff, make sure there's enough staff on hand to deal with comments, manage that discussion, monitor stock levels, but also do what you can to build trust in other ways. So as we mentioned, pinning returns policies to your stories highlight, for example, your story highlights, for example, building in some more customer stories, some more testimonials to your regular plan of social content as well, just to make sure that's all present on your profile. So now we're going to park it there and have a look at some questions, I guess. So just bear with me while I load up the Q&A box and see what we've had come in. If you are thinking about asking a question, now's the time to drop it into the box. Otherwise, we'll have a run through what we've had so far. The first one here, I can see my customers are older, so mainly shop in store. Is social commerce still a good option for me? I guess, yes, like, short answer is social commerce is great for everyone, but there's intricacies and nuances. So if you've got an older customer base and they are more traditional and shop more in store, I think it's starting to consider that in-store experience and how you can use that to drive people online and to engage with your social profiles. So that could be things like
giving them incentives to go to your social media platforms, and also a good way to encourage people to start using user-generated content, creating content for you that you can use, cover the user-generated stuff that we've mentioned on your platform, which will enhance people looking at you, not having to look at your site, not having to come to the stores frequently, because they can see the reviews by real people enjoying your products. So yes, I think if you do have people mostly in store, getting them online is really important and the way to go moving forward.
Yeah, I think this is kind of an older problem, I guess, reframed for social commerce now, but it's something that I used to get asked all the time with regards to social media in general. And part of it comes back to connecting up all your touch points and reconsidering all the different customer touch points and how they can feed into each other. So yeah, I'm not expecting you to convert all your old shoppers to silver surfers and being on social media 24/7. But I think incentivizing reasons for them to go onto social, and whether that's kind of reward for a product review or what have you, is perhaps the way to go.
Just encourage them to get online, because more and more people will be online than you actually think as well.
Just another one in the Q&A chat here, and then I'll take a look in the chat and see if we've got any there. Kate says, I'm a small brand. Do you have any tips for social commerce for me?
Yes, we do. So if you are a smaller brand, you should definitely be starting to do it. So even if you don't have a massive following, you don't have a huge amount of advertising budget, it doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing both as well. So you need to be finding ways to see what the bigger companies are doing and starting now, so you can make the steps towards getting ready for social commerce when it really takes off, so you aren't left behind in the future. So when you are scaling and growing, you've already taken the steps to learn the process, you've got everything set up, and you've improved your strategy over time because you've been doing it over time. So as you scale, it will only help you in the long run.
I think as well, it can be a bit of a leveler for brands as well, because you don't need an army of PPC experts or what have you. What you really need is your product catalog hooked up and some good content. So it can be as simple as that. So yeah, it can be a real leveler for brands. platforms as well.
And it's a good way just to get started. It's a good way to get started because when Facebook first came about, brands thought they shouldn't be using it, and now they must. Same with TikTok. When this trend is starting, get on it early and learn the steps so you can improve as the competition of being left behind as well. So big brands are doing it for reasons. There's a reason for small brands to do it too. I'm
just double checking the chat for any rogue questions there as well.
UGC means user generated content.
Yeah, sorry, a question there. Yeah, as Daniel said, UGC simply stands for user generated content. Gosh, I've been doing this for so long, I just kind of acronyms just fly out of me. Sorry about that one. And then Mahmood asks, what's Amazon's strategy regarding the expected growth of social commerce? So
they will definitely have one, but they'll probably feel a bit of a threat because brands would have more control in their products, I'm sure. Amazon is a huge company, so they will have a plan behind it, but you should be doing it as well on your platforms and keeping control of your products as well as using Amazon if you need to, but having more control in your strategy is vital than relying on a giant, because similar to Facebook, iOS, Apple changed something and made everyone relying on Facebook to take a step back and have to look at other ways to increase their traffic as well.
Yeah, I think as well with social commerce, it is one of these kind of buzz terms at the moment, but it's still relatively new. So at the moment, we're watching Amazon a bit and kind of waiting to see how they react, how they respond, and there will be something. But I think kind of, again, the point here is perhaps tied to that point about taking control back from your brand, as Daniel touched upon. If you're able to do that and kind of look at your brand as a whole as well and make sure that that's solid and that's kind of doing everything it should be, then that can help insulate you from any kind of changes that happen on any of these platforms. Yeah.
And also, if you're on Amazon, you can stay on Amazon, but do this as well, because you need to take control and have your own products and not be reliant. So use the reviews from Amazon as well, so people can see user-generated content, UGC, on your platforms as well as on Amazon.
Exactly. Thank you. Okay, I'm just going one last check on the chat. No more questions there. So if there's no more questions coming in, we will start to wrap things up now. Just kind of one final thing to say is we will be sharing kind of a recording of this event later today. So if you need to rewatch it, keep an eye on your inbox. Otherwise, if you want to reach out and discuss anything that we've covered here, gosh, if you just want to watch the videos that didn't work, please just email us and I'll get in touch on LinkedIn, and Daniel and I would be happy to discuss stuff in a bit more detail.
Any more questions, do email them into us.
Brilliant. So yeah, thank you very much for joining.